Hi, this is Katie Burns, and you are watching Live Well Valley TV, Channel 18. Thank you for tuning in. I'm a licensed mental health therapist. I work at Christian Counselor Cooperative in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And locally, I love meeting with my friends and talking about different products or sharing some amazing things that they are doing. And today, I'm joined with my friend, Miss Greta VanWinkle, and we are going to talk about friendship. So I really appreciate you coming on today. You guys may remember her from season 1. We went grocery shopping.
Yes.
And we've known each other for how many years now?
4 or 5 years.
Yeah. And I have just loved getting to know her, and she has been a really good friend to me coming in from the outside and letting me know all about Pikeville. And your family has been friends with my family long before
Yes.
I came into the picture.
Yes.
Billy did some work with cows.
Yeah, he used to show cattle for the Burnses.
Mm-hmm. And now you are a physical education teacher.
Yes.
And you're still coaching?
Yes.
Yeah.
I do elementary PE,
Mm-hmm.
and you see different kids, the relationship with what we're talking about today.
Good. Well, I hope this helps you guys at home. I think that friendship is an important topic that's not often talked about.
No, it's not.
And a good friend, it's hard to find.
Sometimes.
You found over the years for it to be easy or difficult to make good friendships or to have them?
Sometimes it's just a compromise.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have boundaries of what your friendship is with family and friends and things.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, a relationship is never easy.
That's
you have
true.
to work at it.
All relationships take work, romantic, friendship. It's going to take time, it's going to take effort. And where I want to start today is defining a good friend. And this is something where you can look at yourself. Are you a good friend? And the friendships that you have currently in your life. And one of the first things I look at when I talk with people about the friends in their life is commonality. Do you have anything in common?
Correct. There's a lot of things that you have to work at.
Right. And, for me, I have so many different areas of my life that commonality, I might can hit, do we have the farm in common? Or are you a cattle person, an agricultural person? Are you a mom? Do you have young kids? Are you a therapist? A lot can hit a lot of things.
You have to have common ground.
You have to have common ground. I wish I had some more mule friends. I don't have any mule girlfriends, but maybe someday. So just trying to find where you kind of fit in and people that have similar things going on in their lifestyle. But I have to say, I really value, you would think that I would really want a lot of friends that are young moms. But actually, I love having a friend like Greta, who is a more seasoned parent. And I can call and, you can say, you'll be okay. You'll be good. And you're very positive and encouraging. And it's a different conversation that I'm going to have with one of my young mom friends.
Correct.
Do you want to add in on that? Did you also kind of feel sometimes similar because you take care of your granddaughter?
Well, my great niece.
Your great niece. I feel like she's a granddaughter.
Well, she is. And sometimes she makes the mistake of saying I'm her grandparent.
Yeah, I know.
But, but different relationships and different age groups is what you need to be balanced out in your life. Mm-hmm. It's a lifestyle change.
Right.
And so many, if you don't have perspective and be open-minded
Mm-hmm.
to different things, what your life experience can help younger generations.
Right.
And I've also have older people in my life that I still take advice from,
Mm-hmm.
or very close with friends.
Well, the wisdom, the
Yes.
years, the added years of living are going to give wisdom that you just can't have sometimes.
Correct. But they will tell you what work for them, you can either take their advice or you don't.
Right.
I mean, that's just what friends are for, is communication. Lack of communication doesn't work out. You don't assume, well, in any relationship, you need to make sure you have communication.
Right.
To make it work at a friendship.
And that can be challenging because sometimes, for me, I think over the years, people might have gravitated to wanting to be a friend with me because I'm a counselor.
Correct.
And so the relationship becomes more of I'm counseling them, and it's no longer a friendship. And honestly, sometimes I get
counseling.
No, they're getting free counseling, and I'm going, I can't take advice from you because I'm giving you all the advice, and so I realize I don't know that you know how to help me in one of my issues.
Correct.
It gets out of balance very easily given my profession, and I think I'm naturally that way too. It's also my fault. I'm very freely like, oh, I can just flip to the other side, and all of a sudden I'm a counselor and I don't know it.
Well, sometimes you have to figure out what type of relationship it is. Are they using you when they need something? Are they using you? Are you having to change because of them to be your friend?
Right.
Are you comfortable around them? Are they a seasonal friend or just an acquaintance?
Yeah.
Are they truly wanting a relationship? Or are they wanting you to help them what they're wanting you to do right now? Like you said, seasonal friends.
Yeah. There's some sort of a benefit to the friendship.
Yes.
Is what you're saying.
Both have to work at it.
Right. And that can get sticky if maybe it's a professional friendship or it's a friendship that turns into a professional relationship, and then where are the boundaries with that?
Correct.
That's hard to figure out.
Always being a coach, I mean, you've been childhood friends with their parents or grandparents. At my age now, it's getting to be their grandparents that you were friends with as growing up. And then by the time you have coached the youth leagues and things like that, sometimes your relationships being friends change.
Yeah.
And it depends on what activity you are involved in.
Because that can be a hard conversation if this was a friend of yours or you grew up with them and they're thinking they have an all-star player, and it could be challenging to mention. I don't know. I don't know if they are or not.
Well, a lot of times they have a very hard time you telling them no in a relationship.
Doesn't everyone?
Yes, I do. I have a problem with somebody telling me no. But it's just that when you are coaching, you have to make what decision for the team is at that point in time. And yes, you do hurt people's feelings, and sometimes friendship don't last. Sometimes it just goes through a conflict of interest. And every child, if it's your own child, you're going to defend your child. Yeah. You're going to protect, regardless of their age.
That's hard because you would really have to separate, I think that, it's an entirely different topic that we could have a show on, but the lack of respect for teachers and coaches has really kind of gone by the wayside over the years. When I've spent time counseling people in those professions, I just see a real lack of that from the teachers, from the parents and the students towards the teachers and the coaches. But it can be double sticky if you were friends first.
Correct.
And that's going to happen in a small town.
Yes, because everyone knows everyone.
Right.
So
that's hard. But with the seasonal issue, I know that I could see my ability to have time for friends really, the window got a lot smaller when I had a child. Because, are we going to hang out with my child and you, or when do I have time? And some people might say, oh, well, I take time away from my child for the friendship, and that can be good. But also maybe if you have more than one friend, eventually You're spending all your time hanging out with your friends.
Correct.
So it's just a life change. It doesn't mean you have to lose the friendship, but you're just going to maybe have to redefine it.
Correct. Your priorities change.
Yes.
And sometimes that's difficult.
Right. And that can be the same with losing a parent.
Yes.
Which you recently went through.
Almost a year ago.
Yeah. And so during that time, what did you learn about your friends?
I learned that some of them are loyal and some of them are not. But everyone has their own issues they have to deal with.
Yeah.
And sometimes, and here lately, there's more and more of it, that people are getting sick and have to deal with their own families and stuff. And you have to show respect for that.
Yeah.
And
because they can be in a season of caring for an elderly parent.
yes. And you can be someone they can talk to because you've been through it, taking care of an elderly person and being involved in going through the process. And it's not easy. But losing a friend sometimes, a loyal friend, is just like a death too. You go through a grieving process sometimes because you were real close, and your relationships do change.
They do, and something that's not often talked about is, stepping away from a friendship or just giving it some space.
Yes.
Maybe it's just not going well right now for various reasons. Maybe the other person's having a hard time, maybe you're having a hard time, and you just need some separation.
Yes, you do. Sometimes you do.
What do you think are some good ways to handle that without it being a fiery flame? We're done.
I think you have to compromise.
Yeah.
And you need to find out where the boundaries are and to communicate. It's the most important thing in any relationship.
Right. There's not a lot of that.
No.
Because that's where the no is in there. You may not be saying no, but you may be like, oh, I'm busy right now. And you may just, continue pushing off in hopes that it goes away.
Yes. But the only thing you can do is be there for them if they need you. And you have to back off if they don't.
Right.
And sometimes you need your personal space. And you need to, like you said, set boundaries for your relationship. And if it gets, where it doesn't work out, you need to walk away as being friends.
Right.
And give each other space.
Because sometimes a friendship is not healthy.
It's not. Sometimes it's not.
And you really don't need to spend a lot of time there, especially if they're negative. They really bring you down. They're not, they're draining your energy versus adding to your energy. And that can be where you have a boundaries discussion and try and help the relationship before just hightailing it out of there. And I think one of the most popular books on boundaries is by Henry Cloud and John Townsend. Y'all can Google it. It's talked about a lot by therapists and just really in the community if you're looking for a good place to start with setting boundaries, and that can roll into your family as well.
If as an adult, if we would take this perspective as children do, kids at school, the way they make friends, it might be a better way.
I don't know, some are biters.
Yes, they are.
Well, we're talking elementary age. Maybe that has gone out the wayside. I just know a lot of my friends have their kids in daycare right now, and biting is an issue. That's why I mentioned that. But elementary age, they can be very giving, I guess.
But a lot of it is the curriculum doesn't. You don't have time in school anymore to teach them the traits of what makes a good friend and what makes a good citizenship and all this.
Right.
Either that or you have to take time to teach them and bring out the books that talk about friendship and what you expect a friend to be.
Yeah, there's not a lot of modeling. Like sometimes it just doesn't come natural for a child to understand what it means to have a friend or to interact with a friend, and they need some help showing. I mean, naturally, I'm not sure that any of them want to share. I'm not sure.
No, sometimes no.
Yeah.
But is it okay for them to have to share everything?
No.
It's not. They should have their favorite toy that they don't have to share.
Right.
And a friend should be able to accept that, that it belongs to them.
These are foundational things that maybe get missed.
It does.
Early on.
And I'm not an expert in this either, but I'm just saying.
Well, you work with, you see it a lot.
I see when little friends, especially little girls, I'm not going to be your friend because I want to play with this friend. Well, they're learning.
Yeah.
What is a friend? And you have to sit down and explain to them, hey, you can be friends with everyone. And you have to, it's okay for them to go play with that other friend.
Right.
And you can make other friends too. Or you can be involved with playing with them as a group.
Yeah.
And sometimes 3 in a group, it don't work out.
Right. Well, I mean, you could even have that, you know, just thinking because you have friends in different areas of your life and then you all want to have a party and everybody get together, they may not all fit.
No.
And that's what you're just saying with, well, go find somebody else that maybe, you know, you share this with them, or this is part of something you guys have in common or enjoy doing together, maybe sports or something. But then over here, you want to get together and you like to do art with them, or you like to ride horses, and that's something that you do with this friend.
Yes. Well, sometimes you may have the same interest as a child or teenagers at that point, and then as you become adults, the interest is not there anymore.
Right.
And you have to find a common ground where does your friendship go? Is it, like you said before, is it a relationship that's going to be positive, or is it a negative relationship that's going to bring you down every time?
I know, and that's huge for me. I can't take a negative friend.
No.
I can't take somebody that is consistently wrapped up in drama. That's hard for me.
Even though sometimes you get caught up in the drama.
You do get caught up in it, and then you're trying to figure out, how do I get out? You know, I just want out, but you're so in it, you know, and you might have even been friends, and all of a sudden it's like, what happened to you? What did you get swept up into?
But sometimes you're in part, if you're friends with that person, don't want to have anything to do with you because, you were part of that drama. Oh no,
Ooh.
you were just there at the time.
Yeah.
And sometimes you get caught up in situations, that's with anything.
It's like it has nothing to do with you, but you're in it, guilt by association.
Correct.
And you're like, hey, that's y'all, that has nothing to do with me.
Correct. And sometimes you have if you're friends with both of them, where's the mutual ground? Where do you fit into the situation?
Right.
Because if you're friends with this one and this one, they want you to take their side.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's a
always
sticky.
happen.
Oh, that you know. Oh gosh, that is a hard place to be when you've got one friend saying choose.
So in other words, but most of the time, you're the one that loses both friends. And that's the way it is sometimes.
Yeah. Well, sometimes I just look at the situation and, you know, say that perhaps you already knew that other friend wasn't so great anyway.
Sometimes.
And it's not that. And if the other friend is like, I'm having a problem with this one, you think of a triangle. I always go back to the triangulation thing. It's a therapy term. And you have one relation up top here, and one relationship in this corner, and one relationship in this third corner right here. And if you are trying to go through this friend to get to this friend, that's called triangulation. Maybe I should draw it on a sheet of paper. I feel like this looks complicated with my hand. Okay, so this friend up here has a conflict with this right here, and this can be in a family or anything. And so instead of going directly to the source, they go through someone else to get over here, and that's called triangulation. You do not want to do that. That's where it gets sticky. That's when you're involved in something you don't want to be involved in. And this person right here, if you realize, oh my goodness, this is me, you need to go shoot it right back up to that person and say, I'm not in this. I'm not doing this. I'm not going to that person for you. Like, that's your issue. And that's called triangulation. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
I mean, just something to keep in mind. It's kind of a handy-dandy visual that I'm not going to complicate the situation. This can be a parent-child, you know, and you'll see it often with little kids. It's like, oh, I didn't get what I want from mommy. I'm going to go to daddy. Whooped. And we know that from the basis, like, nuh-uh, child. No, we're united on that one, but happens.
Triangle can be in relationships with discipline your children.
Oh,
and
yeah.
anything. So
Anywhere, and you always just want to deal with the primary person that you're trying to. Not easy to do it all, but in the long term, it's going to be a good strategy and help your relationship and help yourself.
it sure is.
Okay, so we have about 5 minutes left. Other things that we need to say. Oh, did we mention a balanced friendship? We just kind of touched on that.
Yeah, we kind of.
Balance, what I mean with that is, where one person is giving way more to the relationship than the other person. And that could be seasonal. It may just be a period of time, or it may be how you've established it.
It could be how you grow. It's just like when babies are drinking milk, they're not ready for the meat yet.
Yeah.
That deals with friendship. Some people are more mature and then others are not.
Right.
They're all about me.
All about me.
And they're not willing to share. And what we teach the students, kids at a young age, about sharing, and that's part of a friendship.
Right.
And I've done a lesson with friendship soup. And what is your idea of putting in to the soup? What is the ingredients?
Oh, I like this.
And you would say how you bring in the cups and the spoon, tablespoons or teaspoons, whatever. And you talk about what do you think should be into a friendship, and they add it to the soup. So
I like that. What a great lesson.
And if you want any ideas, you can look on YouTube. There's all sorts of different
Friendship soup.
and ideas of coming up with how to come up and sharing, teaching your own students or kids what they think they should get out of what they want out of a friendship. Even though you can have a companion with a dog.
You don't wonder what we're playing with down here. It's my dog, Snoop. I love that because there are definite things that I want in a friend.
Yes.
And there are things that I reflect on myself is, how am I doing as a friend? And sometimes I'll have to go to that friend and say, I know I'm really not focused on our friendship right now in this season of my life. I'll come back. I just don't have a lot of time right now to give to this. I can do this much and then I end.
Yes.
Just right now. But later, things will change.
And that's what you were talking about, boundaries.
And that's what I'm talking about with boundaries. Defining the friendship. Are they just a work friend? And that's really, where your relationship stays, or do they essentially come home with you? Can they be a friend outside of work? You don't know. Sometimes not. Sometimes yes.
Sometimes they just have to fit in categories in your life.
Right. Like we mentioned before, I could use more meal friends out there. Hi. But we all need friends. For my younger viewers out there watching, I think it is much more valuable for them to spend their time growing friendships versus romantic relationships. I think we often get caught up in that cycle with the youth of, I want a romantic partner, and it's a romantic partner and a best friend, and that's okay. But if they've not learned to have a good friendship, it's probably not going to work out.
Correct.
They've got to learn to have a good friendship first, and what that means, and how to be a good friend, and how to pick out a good friend. Because, a lot of times we are seeking friendships for a purpose, like a self-fulfilling purpose. And that's like, what can they give me? What can they do for me? And that's not helpful either. That goes with those kind of selfish desires. And the other thing that I need to mention really quickly before we end is giving advice.
It's very hard to take sometimes.
It's hard to take.
And accept.
It's hard to accept. Sometimes, you have to evaluate, does the person want advice or are they just venting? For me, what's going to happen with me. Whew, it's hard. But I have learned over time to save my air. And I'll do this in a counseling session too. if I realize the person is coming to me just to spill and isn't interested in growth or change or anything else, I will save my air and I will sit there and say, that is such a challenging time. Tell me more. Something like that, because they're not ready. And they just keep going on. And eventually they might be ready, eventually they might not. Because advice and hearing and wanting to change takes work, and a lot of people don't want to do that. And that's not always what a friendship is.
Correct. Both have to work at it.
Yeah, well, friendship they may not want your help.
And sometimes you may have to say goodbye to the friendship.
And be like, this is such a mess, I can't help you. I can't continue to listen. I'm not your therapist. I can't continue to listen to all of this.
Well, if they're negative all the time, do you want to be around negative people?
I can't do it. Y'all know I can't do that.
Nope. I don't want to.
No. Well, that really started when I was counseling, full time. I don't counsel full time, but when I was counseling full time, I'm hearing problems all day long. I couldn't call up a friend and hear more. I just wanted to kind of chat about life and fun things.
You always want positive people in your life.
Yes. And I hope you guys at home have some positive people in your life, and we'll take some time to evaluate how are you doing as a friend. Look at your relationships. How are your friendships? Are they encouraging you? Are they building you up? Are they giving you energy? Are they giving you life? Are they sucking it right out of you?
Could this also be the same thing as nourishment and punishment?
Ooh. Nourishment and punishment.
Are you having to be with that friend to just punish yourself?
Yeah, because you feel obligated.
Mm-hmm. Or do your friendship nourish you as a person? You can be your best friend to yourself.
Right, and
you learn love yourself before you can be friends with anyone else.
What is it, out of the 7 people that you're friends with, you're 70% of those friends or something like that? Mm-hmm. There's a statement that goes with that saying you kind of take on a lot of qualities of your friends, and so if they're not really looking like quality people that you really respect, it might be time to find some new ones.
Yes.
This was fun, Greta.
I enjoyed it.
Thank you for coming on.
Well,
Thanks for being my friend.
Oh, thank you for being my friend.
That's another thing, y'all. Always be grateful for your friends. Thank you for joining me. I hope that this week you'll take time to live well.